Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're joining me for the very first time, my name is Fajira. I'm so happy to have you right in my beautiful family. And for my returning subscribers, I want to say thank you guys for always coming back to watch my videos. I really do appreciate it. And if you're here for the very first time, you haven't subscribed to join our beautiful family, please do not forget to hit on that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, so each time I upload a new video, you are going to be the very first person to see that video. So guys, let's quickly dive right into today's video. I'm going to be talking about the Scaleup visa and the official start date for the Scaleup visa. So the Scaleup visa is for talented individuals recruited by the UK Scaleup sponsor who have the skills needed to enable a scale-up business to continue growing. So you will need to have a highly skilled job offer from a qualifying scale-up business at the required salary level. The scale-up route is a route to settlement in the UK. Applicant may be joined or accompanied by a partner and dependent. Remember, the high potential individual visa does not lead to a route of settlement, but the scale-up visa do leads to a route of settlement, which is a very good thing. And you can also come with your dependent. So the scale-up visa offers both routes, a sponsored application route and also the unsponsored application route. The unsponsored application route is only available for applicants who have previously been granted permission as a scale-up worker. In order to be qualified for a scale-up visa via a sponsored application, you will need to satisfy UK Visas and Immigration that you are above 18, you have a valid certificate of sponsorship issued by your UK sponsor for the job you are about to do. The job you are planning to do is a genuine job, not a fake one. You also need to show an evidence that the job you are planning to do is at an appropriate skill level. Your salary will equal to or exceed £33,000 per year, which is you should earn £10.58 per hour on the going rate for the job. So you are competent in English language to at least CFRL B1 equivalent to IELTS 4.0. You have enough money to support yourself without relying on public funds, provided a valid tuberculosis certificate. That's if you're from a country that will need tuberculosis certificate. And for the English, I've uploaded a video about ECCTIS. So if you have a BSc, you have a master's, you have a PhD, you don't have to go through the IELTS route. I have a detailed video on how you can apply for your ECCTIS certificate. So I'm going to leave the link to that video in the description box below, so you applied for that. So that's the requirement for the sponsored application. So we are going to read the requirement for the unsponsored application. So the unsponsored application is not the one that you will need the certificate of sponsorship from an employer. So you have to show that you are 18 and above. That's to say you are an adult, you have previously be granted permission as a scale-up worker. You have to show an evidence that you have earnings in the UK equivalent to at least £33,000 per year. Then you have to show an evidence that you are competent in English, which is the same thing with the IELTS and the ECCTIS certificate I'm talking about. You have to show enough money that you can support yourself without relying on public funds, and also you have to provide a valid tuberculosis test certificate. That's if you're from a country that will need tuberculosis test certificate. So that's a requirement for the unsponsored application. In order to obtain Scaleup visa via sponsored application, you will need to have a valid certificate of sponsorship for the job you are planning to do. Your certificate of sponsorship will need to have been issued by the employer that is authorized by the Home Office to sponsor a scale-up worker. So this is the one that you need a certificate of sponsorship. So but for the unsponsored one, you don't need a certificate of sponsorship because you may have been granted a permission before on that route. To register as a scale-up sponsor, your employer will need to demonstrate that they have had an annualized growth of at least 20% for the previous 3 years period in terms of turnover or staffing. Companies will also need to have had a minimum of 10 employees at the start of this 3 years period. So sponsor must be listed as A rated on the Home Office register of licensed sponsors. So once a scale-up sponsor has an A rated license, they can issue a certificate of sponsorship and also sponsor you for 6 months with a salary that is equal to or exceed £33,000 per year. the going rate for the occupation code, and £10.58 per hour. Certificate of sponsorship must have been issued not more than 3 months before the date of your Scaleup visa application. In order for you to be qualified for the Scaleup visa, you need to show that the job you're coming to do is a genuine job, is not a fake one. In order to qualify for Scaleup visa via either sponsored or unsponsored application, you will need to have cash funds of at least £1,270 available. You will need to have these cash funds in your account for at least 28 consecutive days, ending not more than 31 days before the date of your Scaleup visa application. You will be exempted from this financial requirement if your sponsor is willing to meet your maintenance cost up to the end of the first month of your employment to an amount of at least £1,270 if necessary. If your sponsor has said they are going to take care of that, you will not need to show these funds, because that will be stated on your certificate of sponsorship. If you have been in the UK for the past 12 months, you don't have to show these funds. So switching into a Scaleup visa route, if you currently have leave to remain in another immigration category, you may extend your stay by switching into the Scaleup route, unless you have or were last granted permission as a visitor, short-term student, parent of a child student, seasonal worker, domestic worker in a private household, or outside the immigration rules. So if you are outside any of this, you can actually switch to Scaleup visa. Duration of the Scaleup visa for the sponsored is 2 years, and for the unsponsored is 3 years. So condition of stay: if you're granted a Scaleup visa on the sponsored application route, then you will need to be employed in that job that you're being sponsored for an initial period of 6 months. So after this initial 6 months period, your immigration status will no longer be tied to that original sponsoring employer. You will therefore be able to undertake additional or alternative work, including employment, self-employment, and voluntary work, without being sponsored. You will also be permitted to study. You will not be able to access public funds. So if you're applying for a Scaleup visa as an unsponsored applicant, you will not be tied to a sponsoring employer. You will also be permitted to study, but you will not still have access to public funds, which is very, very good. In order to qualify for indefinite leave to remain as a Scaleup worker, you need to confirm that you have spent a continuous period of 5 years in the UK with valid leave. That's good. You're still in employment in the UK with a salary of £33,000 per year. You have had monthly pay earnings in the UK equivalent to at least £33,000 during the last 24 months for at least 3 years immediately before the date of the application, and you meet the knowledge of life in the UK requirement, unless exemption applies. The knowledge of life is an exam that you go to write when you're ready to apply for your indefinite leave to remain. In order to be granted settlement as a Scaleup worker, you will need to satisfy the Home Office that your payee earnings are genuine, that you can always come with your dependents, and it also leads to settlement. So it's kicking off on the 22nd of August 2022. So start preparing. I'm going to look out for some companies that are actually recruiting for this Scaleup work, and I will upload them. Guys, until I see you in my next video, you take care of yourself, and bye bye for now.